Good afternoon. Welcome to the Real Estate Show with Kristie Brady of Strata Realty Group. And we're going to get right into things today as Kristie has a couple of very special guests in the studio.
So a couple of weeks ago, I had a foundation inspection on a house that we were selling, and it came back with an unpermitted addition, which completely threw a wrench in the spokes. So I thought that I would invite the Lostra Engineering team, Mike Lostra and Tom Hawkins, over to tell us a little bit about foundations and what we need to do to make sure that our additions are all permitted according to Nevada regulations. Who regulates permanent foundations for manufactured housing?
Well, there's actually two different agencies that do that. There's a federal level and a state level. On the federal level, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or as we all know it as HUD, the Department of Business and Industry Manufactured Housing Division is the department that regulates us at the state level.
All manufactured homes have permanent foundations?
No, not all manufactured homes have permanent foundations. Some have an 8-point or soft set foundation, which means it can still be considered real property, but it doesn't meet the HUD requirements for permanent foundation.
I know Lostra Engineering does a lot of foundation inspections. When do you normally get called to do a foundation inspection for a mobile home?
Well, being a licensed engineer in the state of Nevada, we're usually called to do a foundation inspection when the lender requires it. These inspections are most common with FHA and VA lending. This inspection requires us to physically go out and inspect the foundation and determine whether it's in compliance with HUD standards.
So what is the most common problem you run into?
The most common problem we have with the foundation inspections is a combination of unpermitted additions and attached structures.
So what is an unpermitted addition?
Well, I guess an unpermitted addition in a nutshell is any modification or addition that's made to a mobile home requires a building permit, and it also requires a licensed engineer out of the state of Nevada. Additionally, an additional requirement to that is it has to be approved by Nevada State Manufactured Housing Addition. Most of the additions that we see that we run into problems with have not had these approvals from the different agencies, nor have they been designed by a licensed engineer in the state of Nevada.
Okay, so let's say that during your foundation inspection, you run into a non-permitted addition. What can be done to make them compliant?
There are two ways you can remedy that problem. The first is to basically obtain a conditional building permit for the addition. This type of permit is designed for permitting additions that have been constructed prior to obtaining a building permit. This usually includes a physical inspection by the local building department, as well as modifications to the structure to comply with the building codes. The other way to solve that problem is to just remove the addition.
So if an owner wanted to put a permanent foundation under an existing mobile home, what steps does he or she need to take to properly permit the foundation?
Well, being engineers, obviously the first steps is always to get an engineer to design the foundation in accordance with the HUD and local building codes. We always recommend that you hire a licensed contractor in the state of Nevada to not only permit but also install the foundation in accordance with the engineer design. There has been a recent change to the permitting process for permanent foundations for mobile homes, which does not require Nevada State Manufactured Housing to review the engineer design anymore. This is a recent change with the building departments. The local building department does all the review now for the permitting. Nevada Manufactured Housing does review all additions, but they have backed out of the foundations. We would also recommend that every person verify that the contractor is licensed with Nevada Manufactured Housing in order to perform the work on the manufactured home. There is a separate license requirement for that, so we just want you to be aware of that.
Okay, so does Lostra Engineering design mobile home foundations?
Yes, we do provide the design of mobile home foundations, and we inspect them all the time. We're very familiar with the requirements and codes pertaining to permanent foundations for manufactured housing.
So if there is one piece of advice you could give to these homeowners, what would it be regarding manufactured housing?
I guess the best advice that I would give is do your homework. Manufactured housing is some of the most regulated housing in America. So anything you do to a manufactured home usually requires a permit from someone, some governing agency. We always recommend that you hire a licensed engineer in the state of Nevada as well as a licensed contractor. And last but not least, feel free to call us, Lostra Engineering, if you have any questions regarding manufactured housing, or visit our website at elkoengineers.com.
Well, thank you so much, Mike and Tom, for coming in and talking to us about foundations and additions. And it was great to have you on the show today.
Well, thank you, Kristie. It was really a pleasure to be here today.
And for more information on Kristie Brady, visit www.kristieonline.com, or you can go to email her at Kristie, Kristie, sellshomes@gmail.com, or of course you can give her a ring at 385-7679. And don't forget to tune in Thursdays at 12:30 for the Real Estate Show with Kristie Brady on KZBI.